My name is Ethan, and for most of my adult life I thought I had built something stable, something real. I married young, not because I had to, but because I met a woman who made the world feel less chaotic. Her name was Lauren, and she had that soft kind of charm you only see in quiet people. When she laughed, she covered her mouth with her hand like she was afraid her joy might spill out too loudly. We were together for 12 years. 2 kids. Maya, who loved drawing stars on everything she owned, and Logan, who insisted dinosaurs still existed somewhere in remote forests. A family that looked ordinary from the outside. And maybe that's why nobody noticed the cracks forming inside our home. Not even me. If I had to pinpoint when things began to shift, it wasn't a dramatic moment. It wasn't a fight or a betrayal. It was more like a slow, steady cooling. Lauren started laughing less. I started coming home later. We stopped saying goodnight with kisses and started saying it like the end of a business call. Still, I didn't think it was fatal. Marriages go through phases, right? That's what I kept telling myself. Lauren had always been into online gaming. Something she started back in college. After the kids were born, she used it as her way to unwind. I didn't mind. If anything, I was glad she had something that made her happy. But over time, the gaming sessions got longer. Then they got later. Then they got secretive. I didn't think much of it when she talked about her gaming group. They sounded harmless. A mix of people from different cities, all just playing campaigns together. She mentioned one guy more than the rest. A 25-year-old named Ryan. I remember the first time she said his name. It sounded too soft in her mouth. He's just fun, she said with a shrug. He makes the game interesting. But her eyes glowed in a way they hadn't when she looked at me in years. Still, I trusted her. Maybe I trusted the memory of who she used to be. Maybe I trusted the marriage instead of the person in it. The first sign something was wrong came on a random Thursday night. I walked into our bedroom in our house on Maple Street in Columbus, Ohio, to grab my charger, and she didn't hear me come in. She was on her headset, whispering, giggling. And it wasn't the giggle she gave me during movie nights or when I tripped over our welcome mat. It was softer, weirder, younger. I froze in the doorway. "Stop it, Ryan," she whispered. Her voice dipped into something warm and unfamiliar. "If you keep talking like that, I'm logging off." But she didn't log off. She leaned closer to her screen, twirling a piece of her hair. My wife, mother of my kids, looked like a teenager flirting for the first time. I backed out quietly, pretending I hadn't seen anything. I didn't want to believe my own eyes. But once you notice a lie, the whole world rearranges itself around it. The late-night giggles became the new normal. She started putting extra care into her appearance before her gaming sessions. Lip gloss, mascara, a soft pink hoodie she never wore around me. She hid her phone under the pillow at night. She changed her lock screen. She started sleeping on the far edge of the bed. I still wanted to fix things. I suggested counseling, date nights, weekend getaways. Her answer was always the same. "I'm tired, Ethan. I just need space." Space for what? She never said. Then the real blow came. One Saturday morning she told me she needed to clear her mind and left the house in a hurry. I didn't think anything of it until Logan said, "Mommy's wearing the same clothes she wore yesterday. Kids see everything. They just don't understand it yet." Something in my chest tightened. I didn't want to be that husband, but a voice in my head pushed me toward the truth. I grabbed my keys and followed her. Not in a rage, not even in suspicion. More like a man checking if the ground under his feet was truly breaking. She drove across town to a budget motel off I-270, parked and walked inside with purpose. 15 minutes later, a tall, slender man, not a boy but a young man, walked toward the entrance wearing a backpack and a nervous smile. Ryan. The name I'd heard too many times. They hugged too long, too familiar. Then they went inside together. My heart didn't break. It just folded in on itself like paper closing around fire. I didn't confront her that day. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. I simply went home, sat in my car in the driveway, and realized I had just watched the end of my marriage in real time. She came home that evening smelling like a stranger. Not perfume, just different, like her skin carried the warmth of a place where I didn't exist. She walked past me without meeting my eyes, murmuring a tired "hey." I wanted to say something. I wanted to ask questions. I wanted to ask why him, why us, why now? But the words felt pointless. What answer could possibly make sense? I didn't confront her immediately. Maybe I wanted her to confess. Maybe I wanted the woman I married, the real Lauren, to step out from behind whatever shadow she was hiding in and tell me the truth. But that version of her didn't exist anymore. 2 nights later, the truth came on its own. She slipped into bed long after midnight. I wasn't asleep. She didn't notice. Her phone lit up as she plugged it in. A message flashed across the screen. "Ryan, I miss you already. Can't wait for next time. You feel like home." Her breath caught, like she knew she should hide the phone but didn't have the strength. She turned her back to me. I stared at the ceiling and felt something inside me close like a door. The next morning I asked her calmly, "Is there someone else?" She froze, toothbrush in hand. "No," she said too quickly, then slower. "Why? Why would you ask that?" "Because I followed you last Saturday." The color drained from her face. She sat on the edge of the bathtub like her legs couldn't hold her. "It wasn't supposed to happen," she whispered. "I didn't plan it. It just felt good to feel wanted again." "By a 25-year-old? I asked softly. She flinched. "Ethan, you stopped seeing me. You stopped caring. He listens. He makes me feel alive." "And what about our kids?" I asked. That was when her eyes filled with tears, not from guilt but from fear. "Please don't take them from me." The truth hit me like a punch. She wasn't crying over hurting me. She was crying over consequences. The next week was a blur of quiet conversations with lawyers, whispered explanations I didn't want to give, and nights spent watching my kids sleep because I didn't know what the future was going to look like. Lauren insisted we could work through it. But her idea of working through it was pretending nothing had happened. She wanted forgiveness without honesty. She wanted comfort without accountability. The worst part? She kept messaging him. Even while we were supposedly fixing things, even after she promised she'd cut contact. One night after the kids were asleep, I walked into the living room and caught her lying on the couch, smiling softly at her phone. "Is it him?" I asked. She locked the screen instantly like a reflex she couldn't unlearn. "It's none of your business," she snapped. And that sentence, more than any betrayal, told me everything I needed to know. None of my business. My wife, my home, my family, not my business. That night I filed for separation. The custody battle that followed wasn't dramatic in the courtroom. It was quiet, cold, and painfully procedural. But evidence speaks. Patterns speak. Loyalty, or the absence of it, speaks the loudest. Her hotel receipts, her messages, her absences during the kids' routines, her unpredictable moods, her prioritizing late-night gaming sessions over school mornings. It all painted a picture she couldn't escape. When the judge reviewed everything, including her continued contact with Ryan during the proceedings, the decision was firm. Primary custody to me, supervised visitation for her until further review. Lauren cried harder than I'd seen her cry in years, broken, shaking, begging the universe to undo what she had done. She begged me to. But I wasn't the man she had once loved. I was the man she had stepped over on her way to someone else. Walking out of the Franklin County Courthouse with Maya holding my hand and Logan tugging at my sleeve, asking if we could get ice cream, the air felt cleaner than it had in months, like the storm had passed and left something clear behind. I wasn't happy. Not yet. But I was steady. That night, after putting the kids to bed in our new apartment in Cincinnati, I sat alone in the silence. A different kind of silence. One that didn't feel empty. I thought about my marriage, the good, the bad, the quiet moments, the cracks I ignored. I wondered if I could have done more, tried harder, listened better. But then I remembered the hotel, the messages, her smile at the screen, her saying, "It's none of your business." Some endings aren't sudden. Some endings are slow, quiet, inevitable. Like watching a candle burn down until there's nothing left to save. I didn't lose my family. I lost someone who had already left long before I noticed the door closing. And maybe that's the part that hurts the least.